Hello and welcome to this Android development tutorial brought to you by North Border Software. My name is Gary. This is part 34 of the Getting Started in Android Development series. In this tutorial we're going to look at how to use or how to parse JSON. JSON is JavaScript object notation. Now JSON is an alternative technique or format to parsing data. It compares with XML. What I'll do, I'll just show you some JSON data which we're going to actually work with. You can see it looks like JavaScript in a lot of ways, but it's also very similar to XML in that the data we're interested in is identified by what we call key value pairs. So here the key is first name and the value associated with that key is John, last name Smith, and the salary here. Just a little bit about JSON. When you look at the file and read through the files, you'll see both curly brackets and square brackets. Now what we have here in the square brackets is what we call a JSON array, and what we're interested in doing is extracting the object data. So all the entities with these curly brackets are JSON objects, and it's those JSON objects we're going to work with in this tutorial. What I've done, I've actually reformatted the same data in XML here, so you can actually see the similarities between JSON and XML. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work with this data locally in the project. You might ask the question, well, normally you would access this information via the internet, so why aren't we pulling it from a remote source? Well, the thing is, there's a couple of reasons really. We haven't yet looked at the concepts of threads. Everything we've done today up to date is working on what we call the main thread. That's the main user interface, which handles all the button clicks, the generation of the graphics, etc. If we're going to start pulling very large files down from the internet on that thread, then it's just going to cause major performance issues with our application. So what we would normally do is set up a separate thread. It's primarily called an async task, which will work in the background and just pull the data down without actually interrupting the performance of the main user interface. So we are going to look at that later on, how to use multiple threads and async tasks, and we will come back to this tutorial in the longer term to actually make it remote, access files remotely. The other reason as well is that needs extra code and extra classes and methods, and this is quite a complex subject, so I really just want to keep it as simple as possible, and that's really the reason why I'm just going to put a small amount of data in locally, and we can just focus on actually working with the JSON to make a very simple and easy to follow example. Okay, so what I've done, I've created a simple layout here. It's just really all it is just a single text view. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. I called it text view JSON output, and that's the design there. Nothing sophisticated at all. So I've created a basic class. I've obviously updated the manifest file and the main activity to add this into the list view, but they've just done here a very basic class here, which we're going to start to fill in. So the first thing we want to do is actually let's get the JSON data actually in place. We're going to just create a string for this. Now I'm not going to type it all from scratch. I might as well use the data here, and we'll just copy this into Android Studio. You see that all going to throw major errors up. So let's just call this let's call it string, and we'll call it JSON data, and equals. Now this is going to throw errors out here because first of all it's on multiple lines, and we need to enclose this in inverted commas, and we need to concatenate it, and we also need to include what we call escape characters, because we've got multiple inverted commas here which need to be inside the string itself. So this will be the first introduction to those escape characters. Okay, so let's just do this one line at a time. So that's the first one. Just open the quotations, then put our first escape character in there. You can see with each set of inverted commas I'm just putting in a backslash, and then at the end of this line I'll just close this off, and just put a semicolon. Just put well, what we're going to do, we're going to actually add this second string to it. So just put a plus there, and we'll just go to the end of this line, and now we just need to work through here and just put escape characters in with all the internal quotation marks. So just a little process here. Okay, so that's completed now with no errors. The other thing I could have done was just put it all onto a single line, but that wouldn't be particularly easy to read. Just going to make a modification there. Just take that out there. So that just corrects that string there. Just notice that extra inverted commas has gone in. Okay, so let's get on and just find the text view first of all. So let's just call it JSON output, and what we'll do, it's just a straightforward, done this many times, so it's a text view. It's find view by ID r.id.tv, and it'd be JSON output. Okay. Alright, so what we do now, we're going to initialize a string which will be used for the output, because we're going to collect the data from the JSON array. We're going to form a new string, and then we'll set the text view to display that string. So I just want to initialize a variable here, print data, and it'll be equal. Okay, so that's kind of a blank string. Okay, so the next task is to define the JSON object. The JSON object will actually pull in this string here, so it's just going to hold all the JSON data for parsing. So all we need to do is type JSON, and it'll be object, and we'll call it JSON employee data. Okay, and it'll be new JSON objects, and all we need to do is reference the JSON data which we've defined before. Now it's throwing an error here because again it's accessing what could be external data, and we need to surround this by try and a catch, and really cater for any exemptions and stop our app crashing. Obviously we've got it locally here, but typically this would be generated from some external source on the internet. So we need to just surround that with a try and a catch, and just puts the JSON exception in there. Okay, so the next task is to define a JSON array. Now the array we're looking for in our data is I guess the key for that is employees. So we're after the data there. So we're looking for the array of employees. So let's just define the this JSON array. So it's JSON array. We'll just give it an object name, JSON array. That's fine. Equals. Now it'll be JSON employee data dot and it'll be opt. Now we're looking at opt JSON array, and all we need to do now is put a string value in here, employees. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to look for the employees there. So what I want to do now is just run through each of the what we call nodes. There's 3 lines here, so we want a little for loop that's just going to run to the end of the array length effectively. So we can just put a for loop in to do that. So it would be for. We just need to define an integer, I equals 0, and it'll be to I is less than JSON array, and it'd be dot length. So that's what I'm looking for there. So we've got a flexible loop here. If we've added more lines in, we won't need to modify the code here. We can just alter, if we alter the length of the array, it's really not going to be a problem. Okay, so we just need to increment I. Okay, alright, and so we just need to open up some curly brackets. Okay, yeah, so okay, just set that extra bracket out. Right, so all we need to do now is pull the data that we're interested in. So it'll be JSON, and it'll be object, and it'll be JSON. We'll just call it JSON object, I think. Object. Okay. Equals JSON array, and what we need to do is get the respective row. So it'd be get JSON object is what we're looking for, and it'd be we pass I into there. Okay, so all that's going to do is just look for the specific row, the object. Want it to be 0, 1, or 3. In this case, all we need to do now is pull the strings. So it would be the string values. So we could just define some strings. So string, we'll call it first name, and it would be JSON. It'd be object, and it'd be string. And all we need to do is put the value of the key in there, which is first name. Okay, so we need to just repeat this 3 times. Actually, we won't quite finish. That would be to string. Just make sure it's passed back as a string. Okay, so I can just do this for the other values that we're interested in. So just copy and paste a little bit here. So this would be last name. And this will be last name, and finally we want the salary. Now this is not going to be a string, so I'll just type this one again. It's going to be a float, and it'll be salary equals float dot, and it'll be parse float, because we want to convert whatever we pull from the array into a float. And inside here we have JSON object dot opt string, and again we just need the value in there of salary. And it'll be toString. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we have to form a string of all this data and set it to the text view. So we're going to use this this print data string which we defined here. So it'll be print data. We're going to increment it, so we'll go for each row, we concatenate, we form a string, and then we're going to concatenate it with the next row and the third row. So we need to, I guess, retain the information. We do that by typing plus equals, and we say something like node to signify the node of the JSON array. We'll just add the we'll add the index number in there. Okay, and we'll do just open the quotations now, so just a space and semicolon. So we need a new line, so it'll be /n. It's the escape character. Then we could type something like first name, okay, equals, and then space plus, and it'd be first name. Okay, make sure that's correct. Okay, and we just keep doing this for each of the values. So just open some quotations there, and it'd be another slash new line, and it'd be last name. Okay, it's a bit long-winded this, but just bear with me. Equals, and we need to just add the last name in there. Close that off. Last name. Okay, and just finally the salary, and we'll just open that. That's shown. Salary and equals, and it'd be plus salary. Okay, and one final we'll just have one final new line in there, so \n again. Okay, so just get rid of these errors. I've just forgot to put a plus in there, and that needs to be, that's a spelling mistake there, first name there, we'll sort that out. Okay, the other thing I forgot to do was actually just declare the text view there. So let's just say text view, and it'd be JSON output. Okay, so this is actually ready for a test, but it's probably just worth a recap. You can see maybe compared to some other tutorials how little code there is here, because it's just focused on the JSON side of things. So we've got some JSON data which consists of a single array called employees, and there are 3 objects inside the array which comprise first name, last name, and salary. So what I've done, I've just associated this data with a JSON object, and then looked for the array called employees inside that object, and then I've just incremented through to the end of the array to pull the first, last name, and the salary of each person in that array, and then I've just concatenated a large string here, which is then just going to be set to the text view, which is actually the last thing I need to do. So I do need to put another line in here. So let's just say it'll be JSON output dot set text, and it'd be print data. Okay, so that's the last thing I needed to do. What we can do now is just give that a test. Okay, so we've got the app running now, so all I need to do is click on the JSON example, and you can see it's printed the information which is located in our array. So let's just have a quick check. So you can see the nodes are in there, then the first, last name, and the salary printed out. So that's working. So hope you found this one useful, and catch you in the next one. Bye for now.